Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, joining us. This is High Spot the Cheap Pops, and I do apologize from the rather, what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of elementary setup here. We had a whole thing set up. We did a whole entire video on Dynamite last night. A fantastic Dynamite. We're going to get into the nuts and bolts of it right now. However, I didn't feel like recording and then editing and then putting it back up again because it's already Thursday night. We got to get this up and we got to get into the goings on in AEW and AEW Dynamite last night. Ladies and gentlemen, if I haven't introduced myself, it is the Silicon One. This is Silicon Steve Valley, and I am loving every single one of you. And thank you for checking us out. We now are up 69 subscribers. We're super happy. My Twitter feed's blowing up right now. I'll put that away. And we're going to get ready to AEW Dynamite. We are opening in Cleveland, Ohio for Beach Break. Fucking Cleveland, Ohio for Beach Break. Not sure. Anyways, AEW would open this episode with Dynamite with the anticipated ladder match for the TNT Championship between champion Cody Rhodes and interim champion Sammy Guevara. The sex god. The Spanish god, I guess. There's no leg. There's no Jericho now. I don't get why there needed to be an interim again. I don't want to belabor this particular point, but I don't get why we have an interim champion. It doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever. I digress. Cody and Sammy intros were prior, so we went right into the match. A lot of really good spots here. Not sure on the psychology end of it. A fantastic stall suplex from like the second or third from the top from Cody with Sammy Guevara. Held him up for a little while. Great athleticism by both Cody and Guevara. The selling here was really great on all the big spots. And there were a couple of really awesome ones. There was a figure four leg lock spot. Something I don't think I've ever seen before. Someone put the Cody Rhodes put the figure four leg lock on Sammy Guevara, but he did it through the rungs of the ladder. Looked very painful. It was a really nice spot, and I never saw that before. So kudos to Cody doing that. And Sammy then a couple moments later again. It wasn't a lot of psychology in this match, but there was a lot of awesome spots. Sammy electrified the crowd, and he hit a cutter. And if you haven't seen it on the internet, I encourage everyone to go back and watch this cutter. I'm sure you've seen it on Twitter. If you've been on Twitter, if you have been on YouTube, it's all over the place. It's one of the two major things you're seeing over and over again. And the other one being Danhausen, who is now AEW. We'll get that in a short second. It was a beautiful cutter. He did he was on the one ladder here. Say he's here. Cody's on this ladder, and he's reaching up for the titles. He jumps from the rung on top of the ladder, then leapfrogs, hops up, gets Cody in a cutter, drops. The absolute beauty of the fall and the beauty of the bump Cody took, everything, it was absolutely perfect. Many people are calling it the greatest cutter ever. Randy Orton and a Diamond Dallas Page, all due respect. As Cody started working on Sammy's leg more aggressively, Fuego sold on the outside, though. They went to the outside. Cody was working on Sammy Guevara's leg. Fuego del Sol came down, kind of got involved. Cody took care of it, gave the Tiger Driver 98. Not to be confused with that 98. Sammy also hit a senton bomb off of one of the big ladders onto Cody via almost like a Jeff Hardy moment. So a lot of really nice spots, but just not sure of the psychology. However, after the two battle on top of the ladder, Sammy finally knocked Cody off, actually using the belts as a weapon. Grabs both championships, and your new and two-time TNT champion. Congratulations to the Spanish god, Sammy Guevara. And we'll be seeing where he's going. He and Cody are actually the only two multiple champions in AEW history. We then go to Team Taz members Powerhouse Hobbs and Absolute Ricky Starks with Tony Schiavone in a pre-recorded segment. They looked like they were down in front of Lake Superior, freezing their nuts off. And they were mocking the fact that it was Beach Break, but they were also calling out Dante Martin and Jay Lethal. So that is percolating. I'm pretty happy about that particular feud. However, I'd like them to get some good time because there's a lot of talent in this ring. Let Dante do his thing, but let Jay do his thing. I mean, this could really be a lot of talent. All four of these guys could just do some great things. So I'm hoping that happens. I am not super happy Leo Rush is not with AEW anymore. That is one thing that's sad about it. But Jay Lethal is pretty goddamn nice. So it's perfectly cool. We then go to Wardlow versus a couple of jobbers, Elijah Dean and James Alexander in a handicap match. And if you guessed Wardlow beat the living shit out of them and powerbombed them into oblivion, you were right. The only difference between this match and some of the other matches Wardlow has had recently is that he maintained and ordered Shawn Spears to stay up on the stage, and Spears didn't get any chair shots in. We go to a promo backstage. Chris Jericho, Santana against Ortiz and Daniel Garcia. And the previous backstage highlights were shown. Santana and Ortiz saying that they're kind of questioning where Chris Jericho has led them, and they're starting to think maybe they should think more about themselves. And we see and in the Inner Circle members, they won. They wound up winning. Jericho wound up hitting Jeff Parker, one of the members of 2.0, with one of my favorite moves, the Judas effect. And then, of course, into a Santana pile driver for the 1, 2, 3. Oh, Buster. Hi, buddy. And they go on to win, but definitely trouble in paradise with the Inner Circle. Then we go to the Lance Archer, Hangman, Adam Page promo, and as Buster just really wants to, I can see he really wants to get on camera. Say hi, Buster. Lance Archer and Hangman. I have to be honest, it was a really good promo. Jakey Roberts even said a couple of really nice things. However, my biggest issue I had is that Hangman, his title reign doesn't feel like it's important. I know he had 2 amazing matches, Bryan Danielson, I get that, but he's had the title for, well over 2 months now, 2.5 months, almost, it'll be 3 months in a couple weeks. I don't feel like this title reign has really been too impressive. He's 1-0-1. Not really a hardworking champion in a lot of ways. Not that he's not a hard worker, he clearly is, but we don't see him on TV every week. There's a reason. It just feels like everything going on with Adam Cole is a bigger deal in the Bucks. Everything going on with CM Punk and MJF is a bigger deal. Like, Hangman is not the biggest deal. You're in a situation where it's kind of like when a Jack Swagger had the title or a Dolph Ziggler had the title. They were never the real deal. They were never at a point of caring. They just had a title. And Hangman's a lot more than that. I want him to be more than that. So I had a little frustration with this. But, hey, look, Hangman's going to beat Lance Archer. It's a good building block to a second title defense. So it's all good, but I would really like a significant good title reign after that. After he gets to Archer, let's have him put together a couple of nice title wins. Some decent opponents, nobody crazy. Then you give him Adam Cole at Revolution, and then he loses to either MJF or CM Punk, probably MJF at Double or Nothing. That's how I would book it. That's what I'd like to see. Let Hangman get some momentum here and make this a legitimate title run so he doesn't fall into anonymity. Because I have a feeling if this isn't a very successful title run, he might not get another opportunity to run with the ball for a long time. So, or even be a main spot, kind of be a mid-carder. So I'm worried about that for Hangman. I really am. Then we go to Jurassic Express and Christian backstage, cutting a promo, and they are interrupted by Matt Hardy. And, of course, Private Party, not to be confused with Proud and Powerful, not that PP. Anyway, a couple of nice little shots here and there, but overall nothing big, except Jurassic Express will defend the AEW Tag Team Championship against Private Party, who they're number 1 ranked. All due respect to AEW, and I like what they're doing in this aspect. They're letting these tag team titles, these younger tag teams who aren't really established yet, try to get some really good rub. Meanwhile, you have Red Dragon and you have FTR, the Young Bucks, even the Lucha Brothers, everyone, all these other really top tag teams who really are, you can make the argument of the top 5 tag teams. I don't know if any of them are legitimately a top 5 tag team or any of them are over the 3 or 4 I just mentioned. I don't know where the rankings are. But Private Party should be ranked higher than the Young Bucks or FTR. Come on. But it is what it is, and it's a good way to keep some interest there because the tag titles are still prevalent. And it's good to see this is how you build a tag team division. You have several storylines with different tag teams, not just whoever has the titles and whoever they're facing. So that's a good thing. But Private Party should be the number 1 tag. Come on. Have you even wrestled recently? I don't know. I know they have wrestled on Dark, by the way. CM Punk comes out. And folks, he looks like he's ready to fight. He looks like he's pissed off. And can we just take a quick second? Week after week after week since just before Thanksgiving, these 2 guys and the characters within the story, CM Punk, MJF, Wardlow, FTR, Shawn Spears, They have done this week after week after week after week. And it's been golden every single time. This is slowly but surely becoming the best storyline. It already is the best storyline in wrestling. This is becoming an all-time storyline in terms of just the way what these guys are doing, the work that MJF, CM Punk, and everybody involved are really. It's a come to kind of a realization of who MJF is, but it's also a reestablishing of who CM Punk is. And that's what's a very beautiful thing right now. And I just wanted to have some acknowledgement of that, because at the end of the day, folks, that's what we wanted to see. MJF, CM Punk, they continue to nail it out of the park. Punk comes out, he challenges MJF with several great one-liners, and he wants MJF to fight him there in Cleveland. MJF comes out and trolls Cleveland as only he can, and he seemingly accepts the challenge. It looks like they're going to fight next week in Chicago, AEW Dynamite. And MJF was perfect on the mic, as always. He's bringing up the shoot legal issues CM Punk had with WWE. And MJF also brought up the last time Punk was in Cleveland, Ohio, which was the time he walked out on WWE. And MJF kind of comes off almost like he was a heartbroken fan. And it was some realistic things happening here, because MJF was saying a lot of things that people were saying about CM Punk, the way he walked out on WWE or walked out on his fans and such. And MJF kind of took the heartbroken fans' advocation. He was saying, you walked out on them, you left, you said you were going to be there for everybody, and you weren't, you walked out. He did things like that. That's the kind of stuff MJF is bringing, which I thought was actually, you're almost seeing him almost as a little boy, a hurt little MJF. I think that's one of the reasons he's so hard right now. And MJF asked all of us, what makes us think Punk will do the same thing? Which is interesting, because Paul Heyman asked a very similar thing in a podcast today, and we'll get into that later on possibly. Punk then addressed MJF's concerns, and he came from a real honest place. It's almost as if he was doing it to explain his side of the story for professional wrestling fans who didn't feel the way MJF did. And Punk says, the reason that people love me is because he always gets backed up. And MJF Scott said, oh, you always get back up, huh? And then he was followed by FTR and Wardlow, not Shawn Spears. And why not? Because Shawn Spears came from behind. CM Punk was fighting him off, and once FTR got in there, CM Punk was getting the classic beatdown. After they beat the crap out of him, Spears finally hit someone with a chair. I know he wanted to do it. He does that, and then after they beat him up a little more, they being FTR, Shawn Spears, not MJF. MJF just barking orders. He tells Wardlow, who looked very unimpressed this entire time, he tells Wardlow, hey, powerbomb him. And you felt for a second this was it. This was when Wardlow was going to turn babyface. It was not to be. It'll happen, folks. Don't worry. But it was not to be. He powerbombed CM Punk directly on a chair. And then MJF does indeed accept the challenge, and in a beautiful symbolic setting, Indian style on CM Punk's chest, saying as such. Great segment. These guys have been knocking it out of the park. Much credit. And they are going to wrestle next week in Chicago, CM Punk and MJF. I'm surprised they're having the match this quickly. This might be just a setup for a later pay-per-view match. We move on. Griff Garrison and Julia Hart in the back with Tony Schiavone. And Schiavone finally asks the question to Julia Hart. Julia Hart, what's going on with you in House of Black? And she's like, well, Tony, I wanted to talk to you. And smart Mark Sterling from, of course, representing Jade Cargill said, hey, Jade wants you to be the next champion. So, or next get the chance to win the next TBS championship match. You get a chance. And Griff said, hey, I don't think it's a good idea. Julia snapped at him. Julia's turning heel. And she's going to the House of Black. We know this already. But it's a good way to kind of see where the characters have a reason to turn. You know, oftentimes you'll see a turn like that. This you're going to see some deal. And I'd like to really hear Julia's story, what's going on with her, because she's a very interesting character to me. But anyway, she snaps at Griff saying, I don't need you fighting my battles, signs the contract, and we're going to see Julia Hart and my girl, Jade Cargill, for the TBS Championship. The TBS Championship's always defended on TNT. The TNT Championship's always defended on TBS. It's weird. Legit Layla Hirsch and Red Velvet. And Red Velvet wasn't playing. She goes right after Legit Layla Hirsch. Decent match for the time that they were allotted. Not a lot of time, but good enough. I really like Legit Layla Hirsch and what's been going on with her as of late. She wins, kind of cheating with the tights, but after the match, she attacks Red Velvet, beats her down to Chris Statlander, comes out for the save. Legit Layla Hirsch backs off, and that's how it goes. So Statlander and Layla Hirsch are going toward a blow-off of some sort. Then we go to the back of the House of Black promo. Outstanding promo as always, included a Brody King promo on Pac. Apparently, we're going to see members of Death Triangle, Pac and Penta El Zero Miedo. They're going to take on Brody King and Malachi Black, of course, representing the House of Black. Tony Schiavone then introduces Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Woman Wrestler of the Year, Most Improved Wrestler of the Year, and winner of Match of the Year with Thunder Rosa. And she celebrates, and she cuts a relatively longer promo than I think should have been. It might have maybe given a little bit less, but she did a great job. She didn't say anything that wasn't wrong. I think she called the division a dumpster fire when she got there. Kind of was. And now the women's division is as good as most other ones in the world right now. Still can be improved, no doubt. We're not saying it can't be. But at the end of the day, I thought it was this women's division from what it was a year ago to what it is now is light years ahead. So how about that? So she does that. I would like to see Britt Baker. She needs a baby face that can equal her star power. She hasn't found it yet. Ruby Soho wasn't really there, obviously. Who's going to be that baby face? Because Roman's kind of going through a similar thing in WWE. There's been no heels or baby faces to really challenge Roman except for Brock Lesnar. And there's a problem with Brock Lesnar. He's never going to be there long term. So they don't have that baby face to go up against Roman. However, now that you have Brock there, a lot of cool moving pieces happen in WWE. That's how much a counterpart can be. You know, Hogan had it with whoever it was. He was able to make it out of Savage or Flair, of course. But Roman needs that antagonist. But Hogan had Piper. He had Savage. He had a couple guys that can really go. Roman hasn't found that guy yet. And neither has Britt Baker, her counterpart, her baby face that's going to go to war with her. Is it Thunder Rosa? Well, that's what we hope. But only time will only tell. But that's what I'm kind of looking for. I'd like to see Britt Baker sink her teeth into somebody and have just a massive feud with them. Similar to the Thunder Rosa one, but now with the title. Then we go to highlights of Brock Anderson and Shotty Lee Johnson. They're going to be taking on FTR, Alan Rampage, and of course former members of the Horsemen representing each other team. FTR will have Tully Blanchard, and Arn Anderson will have his son of Brock, and of course Shotty Lee. They should highlight that kind of the dynamic, how FTR has a great respect for Arn Anderson, and Arn Anderson actually wishes that Dax Hardwood was his son, which was one of the lines. It's kind of funny. Brock Anderson's so much like his father. I wonder if that's going to be something to worry about because you'd want him to kind of have his own voice. Nyla Rose then comes out and she's angry over Ruby Soho beating her fairly over a month ago. I think this was just a cheap, quick little way to keep Ruby Soho and Nyla Rose involved in something, keep their name out there. Because other than that, this didn't make any sense. Like, well, but yeah, social media, you can't do it there over the last 5-6 weeks. Anyways, she was really upset about something. It just didn't make sense to me. But I digress. That was really the only problem I had with the entire show overall. But then we had the lights out match. Adam Cole, baby! And Orange Cassidy. And really fun match. Some really great spots. They were able to go from comedy to intensity pretty quickly. I really enjoyed that. And then Cassidy can do that. Cole, they both are really good at that. They both know each other pretty well. Match was great. Cassidy broke his own sunglasses, so you know it was on early. And he had a different intensity. This was definitely the most aggressive I've ever seen Orange Cassidy in the years I've been watching him over the last 5 years or so. So after some brawling, a couple nice spots, Adam Cole went to grab a steel chair from out under the ring. And ladies and gentlemen, my favorite independent wrestler, I mean a guy not signed by either Impact, New Japan, WWE, or AEW, has finally been signed by currently my favorite company, AEW. Danhausen. I'm excited, Hausen. Danhausen is now All Elite. I was so excited when I saw it. I was great. And he seemingly cursed Adam Cole. And I don't know what he does with this cursing. I absolutely love it. But he did this thing with Cole. And it might have paid off. As the match progressed, Adam Cole had a little bit of an advantage, but he did must have pinfall, so he called down some help. Out comes Brandon Cutler, and he was interrupted by Wheeler Yuta from behind. He's a member of the Best Friends, and Bobby Fish came down, and then he was interrupted by Chuck Taylor, another member of Best Friends, and of course another member of the Elite, or whatever they're going to be called. And then the Young Bucks finally came down. They kicked Chuck Taylor, and it looked like the Bucks were going to go and actually involve themselves in the match physically. And then Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero, I forget the name of their tag team, Pinchero or Pincheri or something. Anyway, they stopped the Bucks from going at. So they stopped the Bucks from getting inside the ring. Cassidy and Cole, they fight back, all the way back to the grill position in front of Tony Khan and Jerry Lynn. Cole actually uses Jerry Lynn as a decoy, gets an advantage over Cassidy, puts Cassidy through a table. Then they fight back onto the ramp, and Cole and Cassidy going at it. It looked like Cassidy was going to hit him with a super punch, another orange punch, or whatever it's called. And Cole found a lighting rig. Boom! Hits Cassidy with the lighting rig. And then Cole's going to end it. He's going all the way up to the very top of the lighting rig. Climbs all the way up there. But unfortunately, by the time he got up there, Orange Cassidy moved. Cole couldn't find him to know where the hell he was. And Cassidy, similar to The Undertaker, coming from behind AJ Styles in his last match. Cassidy comes from behind Adam Cole. And just as Adam Cole did the week before and intended to do earlier in this match, low blow. Oh, I didn't tell you about that. Cole tried a low blow, but Cassidy smartened up. And he wore a low blow with a metal cup in it. Cup. Protect your balls. Anyway, Cole wasn't wearing one. So when Orange Cassidy went underneath on the top of the lighting rig, that hurt. And Cole was in pain. And a really funny, almost cathartic moment. Cassidy hugging Adam Cole like the Best Friends like to do. And then he sidewalk slammed him, seemingly maybe about 15 feet down through the stage. It looked violent, looked very evil, but very nice. And Orange Cassidy gets the lights out victory over Adam Cole. And we go off air with the thumbs up. So one thing to note, Adam Cole will not get a loss on his official AEW record, which could play into the fact I think he's going to be the challenger at Revolution. So that plays into that a little bit, just to give you a heads up on that one. All right, folks, that's all I got. I'm surprised I didn't fuck up that much. That's great. This was probably my best live video. I'm excited. Thank you so much for all the new subscribers. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Thank you so very much. This is Silicon City Valley. Please check out hscpwrestling.com. Not a full-blown website yet, but it is live. We are updating it left and right. And we are getting stronger and better and more equipped to be a full-functioning website as soon as we can. Later on tomorrow, we are going to have our Royal Rumble predictions. Me and Vadi Dottie. I like to party. Vadi Dottie. Well, we're going to be going head-to-head. We have two matches that we call differently. I have one match lead going into the Royal Rumble, and we're going to have Elimination Chamber, and then we're going to have the final pay-per-view, AEW Revolution, as well. See if I can win back the purple number. That's right. The High Spots and Cheat Pops Pick'em title. I'm excited about it. I need to get that championship back, and I'm going to be much more obnoxious and much more of a champion than Vadi Dottie ever was. Anyway, folks, this has been Silicon City Valley. I want to thank you for watching. If you tuned in at all and paying attention at all, we really appreciate you. Much love, and here endeth the lesson. Check out hscpwrestling.com. Please hit the subscribe button. If you watch it and you didn't hit the subscribe button, please. Thank you so very much. Have a good one, guys.